Mars, the planet of war, is entering the sign of Sagittarius on November 24th, and it is going to stay here until January 4th, 2024. Now, I'm going to be blunt with you all. This is a transit I would be nervous about, especially in the given climate where we are right now. Mars in Scorpio, where it's been, where we had this lovely new moon, Mars Cazimi. I don't know. We haven't gotten there yet at the time of this recording, so maybe it doesn't turn out to be super lovely, but it can. Mars in Scorpio can have a ton of benefits, especially on a personal level, because it's strategic. Now, why is it important to talk about Mars in Scorpio? Because Mars in Scorpio is very focused. It has a definite target that it wants to reach. It has an end goal, and it's quiet and it moves stealthily and strategically, and there isn't going to be much to deter a Mars in Scorpio. But when Mars enters Sagittarius, we get a little reckless, okay? Mars, the warrior, gets a little reckless. Keep in mind, we like to think of Sagittarius as a sign that is optimistic and spiritual and philosophical and expansive and hopeful. But we get a lot of those attributes when we think about a planet like Jupiter in Sagittarius, or the sun or the moon in Sagittarius, or even someone's ascendant in Sagittarius. This is Mars we're talking about. Mars is the warrior planet. And keep in mind that Sagittarius is the only zodiacal image that has a weapon. So we often think about the archer as like someone who's just gleefully aiming and going to chase after their dreams. And that can certainly be true a lot of the time. But we're talking about Mars, and this may not apply obviously in a natal chart. I'm talking about what's going on in the world right now. And Mars in Sagittarius can be a little reckless. This is a sign that this is a placement that's notorious for starting shit, starting fires, starting wars. And we're obviously already in where much of the world is already at war right now. There's a ton of conflict going on out there. So this is where things can kind of spiral out of control quickly. I mean, things already seem to be like pretty mind-blowing and shocking for a lot of people right now. And that is why I'm saying this is something that we could be concerned about here. Mars in Sagittarius gives me the image of what it means to be trigger happy, okay? Thinking about Sagittarius being typically like a happy-go-lucky sign, this is a trigger happy placement, okay? So yeah, I mean, this is Mars, which is a hot and dry planet in a hot and dry sign. So it's only going to instigate what Mars wants to do, which is to confront and to battle. And a lot of that is going to be informed by ideology. So different ideologies. And we're in a mutable sign here. So there's a lot of different ideologies at play. And so this is one where even on a personal level, there's going to be a lot of battles going on, like on social media, for example, or in the workplace, or just in and around your hemispheres, right? So this is something that you want to watch for, that people are going to be heated. And something I've noticed is that, we all cope differently. We all cope differently when it comes to managing trauma, managing stress. And some people just like to come down hard on other people and start arguments. And like, that's one way that they release. That's one way that they cope. And some people cope by freezing, and they need space to process. And so everyone's kind of coping differently. But I think that this is a period where people could get a lot more heated. This is another one. We're coming off of a Sun square Saturn the day before this ingress. And I mentioned in that video that there could be difficulty for leaders and accountability and pressures for people in charge. And this is one, Mars in Sagittarius, this is one where there can be issues for nobility, okay? Because Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Jupiter rules nobility. So this is one where you can see there to be conflict amongst leaders or conflict amongst people that hold stake in the world. So yeah, and the other piece of this puzzle, I want to pull up my chart. So keep in mind, we have just had a Sun-Mars conjunction. So the sun moves faster by longitude. So the sun has caught up to Mars and is now past it and is moving away. So that means when we had that Mars Cazimi, is that was a whole new 2-year Mars cycle that just began. And so why is this significant? Is because this is still like a new moon for Mars right now. Mars is still invisible. It's hiding under the beams of the sun, which means it's also combust. It's damaged by the sun a little bit here. So yeah, but it is reborn. It is in the process of being reborn. So archetypally, we could look at Mars at this phase with the sun as a young warrior. Now, when we think about a young warrior, we think of someone who's rash, impulsive, maybe a little reckless here in Sagittarius. There's a recklessness here, an impulsiveness where this warrior doesn't have the wisdom to kind of take a pause and plot things out the way that we had with Mars and Scorpio at the end of its cycle. That was a very strategic, very calculated, pointed, vengeful, just passionate Mars placement, and it was wise. There was some strategy there when we talked about that in relationship with our Scorpio house and everything that's happened in our Scorpio part of our chart. That's why that was such a powerful alignment for us on a personal level. But here we have Mars is reborn. So Mars is untrained. It's not wise. It doesn't know how to wait. It's just throwing darts. And it's like that imagery of the archer, just shoot, shoot, shoot. And I know it's terrible to hear. That's why I'm telling you, this is one that I would really be nervous about. And the thing that makes me even more nervous is that a lot of the stuff we're not even hearing about. We're not even getting a straight story. We're not even hearing about it because it's hidden. So Mars is hiding under the beams of the sun, which means we can't see it. It's operating in secret. So yeah, we're not seeing everything that it's doing. And maybe it's having to wait and pause for a moment because Mars is in a square with Saturn, but it's about to do what it wants to do. So yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a pause here. Okay. Being told like, oh, that's not going to work out. But the next chance it gets, it's going to. So I'm going to animate this a little bit further because it's not until about December 13th that Mars gets enough distance away from the sun. So it's not until the new moon. This is a new moon here on the 13th. And we'll talk about the new moon specifically in another video, but it's really not until the 13th that Mars starts to become visible in certain locations. So that's when we'll start to find out about a lot of the things that were happening in secret there with Mars, some of the recklessness that was going on. So yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to get the full story about some of the things related to Mars and issues on the ground. But one other thing I want to direct our attention to, I'm going to go back a few days. We're going to go to December 7th and December 8th, because this is when Mars is going to make an alignment with the fixed star Antares. And Antares is known as a battle star. And the reason why it's called one of the reasons why it's called Antares is because it's basically similar in resemblance to Mars visually. It's a red-hued star. So it's going to be quite striking if you're able to see it, and probably most people won't be able to see it because it's going to be under the beams of the sun for most locations. So yeah, I really doubt that anyone will be able to see it. Maybe because this is almost 15. Yeah, it's barely 6 degrees away. So I really think this is going to be invisible, but by the new moon, we'll be able to see them close enough to one another. So it'll still be cool to look, because you'll see like two red planets or two red shining objects in the sky together. But Antares is known for battle, and it's known for its brash abrasiveness. It's tough. It's belligerent. So yeah, it can be kind of ruthless. Okay. So that's another reason why I think that this transit feels a little bit worrisome for me. So on a personal level, what can Mars and Sagittarius offer us? It gives us the go ahead. It says, why not just go for it? What do you have to lose? Just shoot your shot. It's kind of like the fuck around and find out transit. So it can be like very adventurous, playful. Let's just on a whim get out of here and go explore. So it can be fun for that. It can be really fun for adventure and exploration, conquest, however you want to take that. But yeah, it's motivated by one's beliefs and values, and it's looking for magic. That can be another thing that Mars and Sagittarius is looking for and inspires us to look for in our own lives, is looking for something magical. So yeah, on a personal level, there's a new quest that is taking root. And now that, even though the seed was planted in Scorpio, there's this encouragement from the sign of Sagittarius of saying, you know what, just go out there, do it. What do you have to lose? So yeah, on a personal level, there's a great deal of encouragement here and optimism about something new that's beginning, something that's starting to excite us and call us forth. So that's a little bit about Mars and Sagittarius on a global level and on a personal level. And yeah, it does make me nervous on a global level, but on a personal level, I'm excited about it. So there's that mutable energy, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, column A, column B. And ultimately, I hope it serves you in the highest. And that was your astrology shot of the day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For a deeper look at how the planets are lighting up your life, you can book your next astrology reading with me, and we'll take a deeper look at your progressions, your profections, your solar return, so that you can go forward with a greater deal of confidence and preparedness about what lies ahead. I look forward to connecting with you, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.